Viewers are always suggesting lots of cool builds I should make in Minecraft Create Mod, but some things get suggested more than others. Okay, I got it. Führer Gustav was a massive railroad artillery piece in the Second World War and is now fully functional right here in Create Mod. I even find a way to calculate the exact angle needed to drop a shell on this villager's house. If you'd like to check out the build for yourself, you can find it over on my Patreon along with a bunch of the other things from this series. Now, without further ado, let's get started. We need to figure out the scaling first. Now, I have measurements for it, which is nice. 43, okay, I'm just going to read this in blocks, but 1 block, 1 meter. 47 blocks long. The barrel itself is 32 blocks long, a width of 7 blocks, and a height of 11 blocks. So I'm going to lay that out here, but it may not end up being what I want to do because at the end of the day, it does have to fit on a wide track. Obviously, a 1-to-1 scale width is just not going to work at all. And then what, I think it was 11 meters tall? That's just not very tall at all. Now, is it? Remember, with the Abrams tank over there, that is way upscaled from 1-to-1. If that were in real life, that would be much bigger than the real thing. This makes me think that the barrel length is counted in the total length. So that's 32, let's say that's 30. So that's 32 for the barrel length. So that would assume that that part with the gray and the red wool is the body, and then that part is the gun barrel, which definitely means then that it's too small of a scale here. I mean, we already knew that from the width. We got 3 blocks here, and then we got 4 blocks of space in between the track. I think that's what we're looking at then. That is the scale that I would like to do. Ah, shoot, there's a fatal flaw in my plan. You see, this is 3 blocks, this is 3 blocks, but this is 4 blocks. Some of you probably already noticed that, and some of you probably can guess what I mean, but the problem with that is, this house is going to have a real cannon on it, and the problem with that, even numbers, and cannon mounts as well, off-center cannon mounts, can't have that, it has to be an odd number in the middle here. Here is the scale that we're doing. Instead of a 7 block, or I'm sorry, instead of a 7 meter width, it's going to have a 9 meter width because 7 went to 9, and so 9 divided by 7 is 1.28. So I scaled it up by basically a third, which means I can derive some rough measurements for everything based off that, which might end up being useful. For example, the barrel should be 41 blocks long now instead of 32. But that's enough complicated stuff. Let's go do something fun. Let's go experiment with cannon barrels and propulsion. What's the benefit? Does the thick, does it look cooler, or does it actually have more stress? Like it says it's still thick stress or 6 stress. What about nether steel? Nether steel is 8 propellant stress. So this is a fully loaded powder cartridge, and it says that it takes 2 more stress, or 2 stress for each thing. So if we did steel, then it seems like I could have 3 of these things stacked as the propellant before it would explode. Let me test that right now. And then shell, and then cartridge, oh shoot. Quick fire and breach, not the way to go. Screw breach is what we need. Screw breach can handle up to 6 propellant stress. So right now it's disassembled, so I would do that, and then we stick that in there. Then we stick that in there. And we do this. Come on. Oh, why? Why won't you go in farther? Maybe that's all that I can do by hand. That's fine. I guess I'll try this. So we put that back, and then we form the cannon. And did that work? I guess it did. Whoa. Well, that didn't work. Okay. I'm not quite sure why. Okay, so I solved the problem by pushing shift while hovering over this item and seeing that, oh, can only be used once in a shot. Right, so you just can't use more than one, which is a shame because it adds 160 meters per second of muzzle velocity, and each barrel block requires 20 meters per second of muzzle velocity to clear it, meaning one of those things adds the ability to have 8 barrel blocks if you want. But what was that? We were supposed to have some 40 blocks of this barrel. But there's a workaround. I just successfully fired 5 of these things, which is a greater muzzle velocity and a greater stress. I believe the maximum I could stick in this would be 6. There's 6 propellant in there. Oh, yep. I just barely saw it. I need to go enable particles. I barely saw it. It worked. It didn't blow up. If I put one more in there, then it should exceed the 6 propellant stress. And then if I switch to nether steel, which takes netherite in order to cast this stuff, it like takes a netherite alloy, then you can have 8. So you could put 8 of these things. So you would get then 8 times 40. That's 3,200. I think that's then what, 16 barrel blocks that it could clear? And I think that's in addition to the chamber. Also, I did look it up, and it looks like the thick and the built-up chambers are not helpful other than cosmetic. Not to say we might not use it, but I think it's only cosmetic. This should be the extreme limit while it still fires. Alright, 3, 2, 1. I didn't see anything. Oh wait, I did. There we go. I didn't form it. 3, 2, 1. Oh, yep, I saw it. But now what happens if I add one more barrel? For some reason having particles turned off also turns off the sound. I don't know why. That's the same length, by the way. I was just re-enabling particles. Let me add one more barrel. Oh, it's still shot. How come? Oh, nether steel takes less. Oh, I get it. 13. So 320 divided by 13, basically. 24, about 24 barrel blocks instead of 16. Ooh, now we're getting somewhere. So 24 plus 9, then you're up to 33. Then you're up to the actual barrel length of the one-to-one Schwergoo stuff. Oh, I think it makes the particles bigger as well for the more propellant you stick in it. All right, let's try then 25. That's when it should jam. I was wrong? Okay, I'm not understanding something, or it's behaving strangely. We're up to 26 now. Well, fine. I'm just gonna build it out to 41 blocks, okay? How about that? Ah, dang. It did jam. But hey, it's already a lot closer than I thought. I seem to be able to do 26. So 35. So that means there's 6 blocks longer than it should be in the back, which I can probably deal with. I've been building just this one side, and then I've been building the middle, because most of it is just mirrored to the other side. So everything you see over here, while it might look like it's missing a lot, all I have to do is just mirror it to their side, and then it's good. I'm kind of onto the last hard stuff now, which is the gun itself, obviously. I've been doing a bit of testing here, just to represent the length of this, mainly so that I could see what would happen when you raise the gun up that way, which would make the end of it go down. Because I had no idea what to do here, because you can't really see it in any of the pictures. So I was just like, well, the gun's supposed to point pretty darn high in the sky at times, which means it would have to have an empty space here, which I was determining. So that's probably going to be the last thing I do. I also noticed on the real thing that there was a piston that was sitting here on the back of it that looked like it would help shove shells and then propellant, I guess, into the chamber, which is exactly what we're going to do here, just with the crate mod cannon loader. And then the whole barrel, the whole chamber, everything here is going to be its own contraption, meaning just the whole thing gets raised and lowered. And I'm going to have Crate Interactive so that you can raise and lower it, including the actual cannon mount. Speaking of trains, you've probably noticed there's nothing here related to actual Crate Mod trains other than some decoration blocks and then these rails. And that's because I still don't quite know what I'm going to do. partially because I have a couple limitations. I can only put a maximum of 2 bogies on one train carriage, and if this were to be realistic, I mean, just the front of this would have, I guess, 5 different bogies because there's 10 different wheels. That's obviously not going to happen on one carriage, and then not even counting this. But in order to make this thing centered on train tracks, I am probably going to just put phantom rails. It's going to be kind of cringe, but I likely will have phantom rails running down the middle of this thing, where we have actually the real invisible crate mod bogies just under here. This storm showed up just as I finished building, and it's done. See, that's about what the player looks like next to it, which is not far off from what you see in the few real-life pictures of it, where you can see people standing nearby. This is just the building, the aesthetic part of it. Although some of what's in here is functional, I'll show you what I've got. So, in the side, the barrel, and where the chamber would be, I have squeezed in some stuff that allows you to load the gun. Although none of it's programmed yet properly. That's kind of one of the things we have to do in addition to just testing it at all. So we've got the screw breech here, and then this thing is just always spinning. It's got a cradle motor. I'll replace that with a wireless transmitter thing. And then down here we've got the other parts of it that allow you to move it out of the way and to add a cogwheel there in order to unscrew it. So I'll just show you instead of trying to explain it. So right now it is screwed onto the chamber and it's locked in place. So in order to fix that, what you need to do is move this up there. And then so that started spinning that way. And then, well, now it's connected, but it's not doing anything because you then need to go up here. Here, let me just get rid of this. So we changed the direction of the spinning, and so it unscrews that. Now it allows you to move it out of the way. By moving it out of the way, it means... Why did you bring that down? How could I forget to modify this so that it only takes 1 block with it instead of a lot of blocks? See, it brings that down and out of the way, which leaves the chamber open. Well, once you get rid of this, then it leaves the chamber open. And so then you can slide in ammo into there and it gets loaded. So that's pretty epic. I want to test fire it, obviously. Could have been. We've all been looking forward to that for quite a while. Right, first, I'm going to copy this thing. Rule number 1, never experiment or test on the only original model that you have. Otherwise, you're going to be sad. Ooh, here we go. Nice. Look at that. Yes, all of them went in. So it's fully loaded. That's awesome. Let's get this out of here. And now I have to move the stuff into place. Let's put this back. Let's put this back. Change the direction of that to screw it back on. And then I think it's ready to shoot once I assemble the gun. Okay guys, moment of truth. Will it work? Will it blow up? Will the shell clear the barrel? There's like some 10 or something blocks here. I don't know, guys. Oh! Nope, it worked. It worked. That looks so cool. I think my only complaint is the particles do start rendering right here. Just because that's where that thing is. But I really can't do anything about that. And I am just kind of limited. Unless, is there like a config thing? Is there any way to increase the number of barrels that it can go through? I'll check the config real fast. I mean, even if not, it's not the end of the world. It still looked amazing. I could do this all day, but then I wouldn't get the rest of this done. When I put this down... Oh, yeah, see? Okay, well, it's working. I mean, that already looks insane. Whoa! Look at that. That looks epic. Alright, so this is just a temporary controller here. It still feels too fast. I mean, it probably is too fast, and it's only at 1 RPM. I don't know if I can make it any slower than that. And I can click that, we can deform it. We'll put in interact me here. Nice. Saw that extra like flicker? That means, yeah, see, look. It's an interactive thing now. Perfect. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna load it while it's deformed, obviously. Put the screw breech back on it. Let's raise it up. Please work. Yes. Assemble the turret. Get out the link controller. Let's go! See? That is how that's gonna work. That right there, that was worth the project. So I've kind of torn this apart and replaced it with a bunch of circuits for controlling this thing. Well, mainly controls, with a little bit of circuits. And if we go to the front, there is the front compartment that I have filled up with stuff as well. And this is all the corresponding parts that control everything. And it just has one of these that brings in power to the whole thing. These controls here make the whole thing work through a loading and unloading sequence super easily. I also added this here in case you want to have it be a power loader instead of just spinning the the valve handle. So we can just do that. So it's loaded. We'll just get this out of here. But next thing you want to do is start over here. And if these things are powered off, it means that it's basically not ready to fire in any capacity. The more things that are lit up, the more ready it is. So right now there is nothing in front of it, but if I push this, you can see there goes the breech, and then we push this. You'll see that's lit up, by the way. There goes the cogwheel. And then if I pull this lever, it spins the cogwheel the other direction, and you'll see that it has locked the breech. And so then we pull that forms the gun. And so now it's actually ready to fire. And then these two things are controlling the elevation. So if I push this, it starts going, then I can just push that again and it stops. Or I can push that, it starts. I can do that to change to the direction. Let's just do that. We'll stop it, and then boom. Uh-oh. Oh, what the heck? Oh, yeah. Well, that's good to know. I just hadn't noticed that before. Apparently if you form the gun before you started positioning it, then it doesn't work. Like here, it's still the interactive entity. But if you don't form the gun first, then it won't take the gun with it. So if we do that now, the gun is formed, which isn't helpful because I already shot the shot. But let's try that again. And so the unloading process, by the way, is basically the same. We just do that, and then it spins that gear in the opposite direction, unlatches or unscrews the breech, and then we'll get rid of the cog. There goes the cog. And we'll do that, and there goes the breech. And then it's ready to go. Start over again. So that's how it works. Nice. That's how it's supposed to work. We can just drive this back on the invisible tracks that run down the middle of it. And I can drive this under the train, and then disassemble this, and then reassemble it, and it should just work. And I believe it will turn into separate carriages as long as the glue is not overlapping. That's kind of the impression I got from testing. Moment of truth. If this works, then I have a train. Then we're actually basically done, if this works. Oh, I think it did. See, look at 2 carriages, 1 locomotive. It's interesting. It makes the train interactive, even though I didn't put the interactive block on this. It's on the cannon, It does make most of the train interactive. That's cool. Well, here, let's give it a shot. I think it derailed the train because it's interactive. Oh, okay, it's back. I forgot that train derailment is a thing. Oh, but look. It's working the way I'm hoping. Now it's phasing through it, but that still is gonna look way better than I hoped. Oh yeah. You see, I have no idea how this would have worked in real life. It surely would have had to articulate a little bit to be able to go around curved rails, given how long it is. But look at that. See, the front of it turns because it's the different carriages. So then this will swing around. Whoa. I don't know if I want to push my luck, but I should be able, since this whole thing is interactive. I will try this, but I don't think it's going to work. I don't think I'm going to be able to use it while it's in train mode. Like, the initial glue that this had just made it into a train, and probably will not be used in order to move this as its own thing anymore. That's what I expect is going to happen with this. And then when you deform it into a train, like if I added, like, look. See, I can add glue onto this now. Any glue that I add onto it now would get lost when I disassemble the train. Let me just try this. I'll just try. Yeah, that's too bad. Although, the whole point is to use it as a train. And I can add glue onto it. It's just annoying, and it will disappear if I deform the train. But if we don't deform the train, then it will stay there. And then I should be able to set it up and use it on train tracks, which is how it would be in real life. And that's how you turn it in real life. You don't turn the barrel or anything. You just turn the whole vehicle on a curved train track. Okay, yeah, I gotta try this. I've done my testing, and I've found out how far away the shells are landing. And no, that's not a shell crater right there. So what I discovered a few things. When you point the gun, basically just straight out, it's not elevated, it's not pointing down at all. You get shell craters, well, this is gonna take a little while. Right here. These craters came from the one that's stationary, it's not a train, and it was just test firing straight out. And it went about 400 blocks. And so I was just flying in this direction, you know, all the way back over here. And I discovered the shell craters on the other side of this river. There's some here, and then there's a bunch of them over here. This is about 1,500 blocks away, so you can see we're all the way over here, and then this is where they were shot from. I want to try shooting it again, though, with a higher elevation, higher than 45 degrees, and see if it goes farther, or see if it actually goes closer. In order to test this and see exactly where they land, I've turned off the projectile chunk loading so that they only fly through the air if I'm in those chunks, meaning that they'll land as I load the chunks, and I'll be able to see it. Oh, shoot. Right there. Okay. Yeah, that was a lot closer. Like, we're right here. That shot up here and landed there, as opposed to there, so it didn't even go half as far. So I'm wondering what the optimal angle is, and it's really hard for me to measure an exact angle here as well. Although it might be possible. Okay, so you can turn, with the sequence gear shift, you could actually turn it 90 degrees, or you could program it to be whatever you wanted. Like, let's do it to exactly a 45 degree angle. And hope that it goes the right direction. Oh no, it's turning down. So that's 45 degrees. Oh, there it went. Right, so 45 degrees. How would I write this down or something? Because it might be useful. So 45 degree angle makes it go basically 1,100 blocks. Well, that means that we know that 45 is not the optimal angle, that it's actually lower than 45 degree is the optimal angle. This is 35 degrees. Let's see what this does. Oh, right there, look at that. Okay, so we increased by about 150 blocks. But I have seen a shell land here, meaning that 35 degrees is still not the optimal range. We're not going to talk about how the maximum range might only be 1.5 kilometers. 25 degree angle. Oh, there it went. But it was a dud and didn't blow up. See, that landed basically right in the middle of my farthest crater. So 25 degree angle. Got it right here. So that's only like 1,300 blocks. Never mind. Maybe it's not even 1.5 kilometers. I will try lowering it down to 15 degrees and see if that's better. Oh, there it went. Okay, that was closer. So it looks like the optimal elevation was 25 degrees. Now I want to try all the increments of 10 and see if I can find out a formula for this. I guarantee there is a... Well, look, they had to code this and using math, so I guarantee there is actually a formula that exists behind this that went into the code, and I'm just trying to, I guess, identify it based off the actual observable results of the canon in the game. I'm getting way too excited about this, aren't I? You know, I bet I could find the exact angle that I would need to drop a shell right on this village. Oh, there we go. Oh, shoot. Oh, that was cool. $120, so that only went 420 blocks. 85-degree angle. I hope this doesn't land on the thing. Oh shoot, it went behind me. I didn't even see that. Whoa, that is a... Yeah, I'm gonna calculate the difference between all of these here when we're done. What do we think? Should I try 89 degrees? This is a really stupid idea. Oh yeah, it totally would have. Right, so we went a grand total of 35 blocks. So here are our calculations. Well, no, that's not true. I didn't actually do 5 degrees yet. Oh, look at that. That's actually not helpful. I might have to try that again. Oh, really? It went right there? Okay, well, I think that hit the ground. I don't think that ran into anything. It only went slightly farther. So at 0, it's basically 400 blocks. Then we had a plus of 360. Then a plus of 440. And then a plus of 100. Then minus 50, minus 50, minus 190. Then minus 230, minus 260, minus 275. And then it's only a 4-degree difference, about 110. It's still a pretty good idea of the trajectory. So using this, I should be able to put in a degree to land right next to this house. I want it to go about 710 blocks away, which falls in between 55 and 65. 23. So each degree should be about 23 blocks. So let's try doing it at 63 degrees. Should get pretty close. With the actual math that I'm doing, it should be like 63 and a half, but we're not going to have that. It was supposed to hit right there. Oh, it was close. It was off. It was too far. Yeah, it should have been like 64 degrees instead. Oh, yeah. Okay. See what I said? It actually did need to be basically half a degree. It needed to be like 30. See, that was short. I was trying to drop it right here. And so if I could have been able to do 63 and a half degrees, which is what I was hoping for initially, that would have got it. So I literally can't drop it right here. Unless, of course, it were actually on rails and you just moved it slightly forward on the track. That would work, because I'm shooting it from the stationary one. But if it were from the train one, things would be different. Nevertheless, that shows that my measurements and all that are quite useful if you want to try to drop it somewhere very specific. But what of the railway one? Well, you can see I added these tracks here so that it looks kind of aesthetically correct. And it's diagonal right now, so I don't know. I have no idea if my formula, how it's gonna work for hitting something on a diagonal line. Should I try it? Okay, I'll try it, and then I really need to end the video because this is probably way too long already. This crater, this meteor, is basically directly in a diagonal line from here. I feel like it's going to be different with diagonals, but I guess I'm just going to start by taking the difference between the target coordinates and the cannon's coordinates, and then add those two together for the X and the Z, and then try to program an angle for that and see if that works. Well, guys, if I did this right, that meteor is going to get a shell dropped on it. I feel like it overshot it. Anything falling from the sky? No? Nothing falling from the sky? Okay. Oh, yeah, it did overshoot it. Okay, well, I learned something about how diagonals work. You don't add it together. Okay, then I'm going to try the opposite, I guess, and not add it together. I'm just going to program it for the distance of 1, which is about 580 instead of 580 times 2. When I programmed it with 2 different lengths... Oh, yeah, see, I don't understand. I don't understand at all. That went way short, but I am noticing that the meteor is roughly halfway in between the one that overshot and the one that undershot, which makes me think that maybe I need to take just one distance and then multiply it by 1.5 and then program it for an angle for that distance instead of taking either basically double or just 1. Oh! See, it was close. So that was 57 degrees, and it overshot, which means it needs to be slightly more than 57 degrees. So some combination of my imprecise data collecting combined with it not being a linear relationship between number of degrees and distance means that I managed to lose up to 2 degrees, which isn't good. Somebody could totally make a ballistic calculator for this, though. I guarantee it would work. Oh, yep. That was a direct hit. 59 degrees. As direct a hit as it could from that angle. That is awesome. At least the whole theory of 1.5 times the distance away is where you need to start with. If you're doing diagonal, that's useful. Anyways, I think that concludes our video on the Schwer Gustav. I hope you guys enjoyed, especially like that stuff at the end, calculating the ranges and everything. I just kind of nerded out on that, I suppose. But now, if you end up using this yourself, you'll be able to roughly calculate the range for both straight and diagonal. Speaking of getting it yourself, you can find this on my Patreon along with all the other builds from the series. And I'm actually going to have a, I guess, belated Christmas/New Year's discount running until the first of the year, I guess, 2025. So a lot of stuff on there will be discounted if you want to go grab it and see what they have. Or, of course, just get the Schwer Gustav behind me. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed, make sure to drop a like and hit that subscribe button down below. I hope you guys had a nice Christmas and have a happy New Year. I've been Speed. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a good rest of your day. And I'll see you guys next time.